see that big goal.
As well as understanding the dynamics of.
I want to ask you a question today.
This is John Hardy giving you the business tip of the day so you can do business better.
Hello everybody, this is John Hardy with you on the Coach's Corner, and again we have a great guest for us to have a conversation with, and I'm going to introduce you to Ben from The Cut, and it's great to have you in the studio, Ben.
Thanks, John.
And we're going to have a great conversation today about the dynamic of the business coach and the kind of business that you're in. So I won't give too many secrets away.
Absolutely.
Because I know when I'm working with clients that having the kind of resources that you have add great value. And we want to help people because there's a whole dynamic that you bring to the table for the business world. So
Sure.
Tell us about yourself and tell us about your business.
Historically, I'm an advertising guy, so traditionally writing advertising, but our business now is very much digital. Branding still a lot of, but we help clients with websites, business applications, and digital marketing strategies. So that might include social media, videos like this one on occasion, EDMs, content marketing, those sorts of things.
EDM?
Electronic direct mail, so electronic newsletters.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
but using platforms like MailChimp is probably the one people are most familiar with.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell me a bit about the business, The Cut.
As in who makes it up?
Yeah.
So it's myself and a business partner. We launched The Cut in 2009, in the second half of 2009. We both came back to WA after extended stints in the UK. Now we have a team of 10 in total, including Scott and myself. And that's divided up between back-end developers, the guys that do the coding, front-end developers, the guys that do the design of the websites, and then some graphic designers, project managers, and content people.
Cool. So it's a fairly comprehensive business in the online world.
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah.
Our specialisation is definitely digital. That's where our focus is. We do quite a lot of work with companies and brands and rebranding and logo design and more traditional advertising.
Yeah.
But that's a smaller part of the team that delivers those services.
So tell me a little bit, why is your business doing what it's doing in the business world today?
It was our initial intention when we started in 2009 to combine sort of creative advertising strategies with digital. And I think now, you don't really have to point it out anymore too often, but if you're not doing digital, you are probably not doing very well.
Yes.
Print media is fast declining. You only need to look at the magazines that are going out of business and the newspapers that are closing their doors and the decline in TV advertising. Everything is moving into the digital space and happening online.
So it is fairly important for the business world to really understand and grasp the power of the digital world.
I think 100%.
Yeah.
100%. People are talking about retail spaces and bricks and mortar
Yes.
stores closing in favour of online stores.
Yeah.
I personally think retail will continue to exist in a physical space in some way, shape or form, but there's no doubt about it that businesses can expand their offerings, reach more people in whatever they do, whether they're selling products online or services, or it doesn't really matter. There's scope to reach people online and far more people.
Yeah, and I've found this, that often when I'm looking at a business, I'm looking at one of their challenges that they face is the whole digital world and how well they represent themselves in that space.
Sure.
So what kind of problems have you seen in that space when businesses come to you, referred, like myself, from a coach, and we're saying, because it's not my strength, but I know it needs to be done. What kind of problems do you see they have?
I think the biggest one is probably lack of understanding, and that manifests itself in a bunch of different ways. They have either had a very bad experience because they were sold something and they didn't understand what it was or how it worked. They didn't understand that it wasn't the best solution for their business, or that it was a poor solution in general, but both things can be problematic. So we always find we're educating our clients. We're working with them to help them understand the space. We often start with a foundational approach, like what are the first things you need to get in place to be operating in a clever way digitally and doing the simple things in the best way you possibly can as a starting point.
Without giving a business away, could you illustrate that with a particular business that's come into your space? A problem.
I think there's a I think across a lot of businesses, and I can mention a specific example,
Okay,
but
yep.
across a lot of businesses, there's really a lack of understanding about what the potential is of what you can do with a website, but how to piece it all together. How does the website relate to the YouTube channel,
Yes.
relate to the blog, relate to the social media? Is it Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram? How do you use them? If you're using them, what more can you do with them? So it's really about piecing those things together often,
Yes.
and saying, okay, your website is the center of the universe.
Yes.
Your website should have a blog, so you're
Yes.
publishing some sort of basic written content. Then you send your blog out in an electronic direct mail using
Yes.
Campaign Monitor or MailChimp. Then you publish the same content into your socials. Then you might start to look at videos
Yes.
or different sorts of content, maybe documents of tips and tricks or insights that people can download from your website. And so it's about building on that foundation and adding to it over time.
When you tell me that list of dynamics, I'm feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean. Businesses, when they hear that,
It's really complicated.
yes. So how do we step them through when they come to us, either as a coach or I refer them to you?
Yeah.
How do we step them through that so they recognize the problem and then recognize the dynamic of really engaging in a smart way in the digital space?
So the first thing is the website.
Yeah.
Start with the website. What does that need to be doing for your business? And then what could it be doing, and what improvements could you make over time? Once you have your website that's designed well, it represents your brand in a good way, it has good quality content, people can land on it and find the core messages or the
Yes.
services that your
Yes.
benefits offer,
Yes.
that your
Yes.
business offers, excuse me.
Yes.
That's the ground level.
Yeah.
Then you might add a blog.
Yes.
And a blog's just writing some articles yourself about what the sorts of things your customers want to know about your business or your
Yes.
sector. And then you might think about adding social media channels.
Yes.
Then you might think about blogging or video.
Yes,
So
yeah.
it's a step by
Yes,
step. But
yes.
certainly we see the website as the centre of the universe.
Yeah.
And having a real understanding of what can your business gain from a website that does A, B and C,
Yeah.
as opposed to a website right now which really doesn't do very much at all.
Yeah. So we know that there is websites that are simply flyers that look really nice.
Yep.
But what are we actually saying to businesses when we say you need a website to be the center of this?
Yep.
I think there's some language we need to help our businesses understand.
It really depends on what the business does.
Yep.
That's very, very important. Like an online flyer, that we would describe that as the brochureware website. So it's
Yep.
like a brochure, a print
Yep.
brochure that's on the internet.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
But there are a lot of different things you could do. If you're a service-based business, you could offer people the opportunity to request a booking, for
Yes,
example,
yes.
or just send an inquiry to your website. Or as
Yep.
I said before, download certain assets
Yes.
from certain pages.
Yep.
Um,
So we're actually saying we want it to be more than just a flyer. It can be that, but we can actually add dynamics that are they call to actions? Are they push? Are they pull? What are we saying in that space to help businesses understand it's more than just a flyer is good,
Sure.
but we want it to be a little bit more dynamic than that.
Well, the first thing that I would say is that if it is just a flyer or a brochure website, it should be a good and well constructed brochure
Yeah.
with a intuitive structure that
Yeah.
presents your content in a good way, that presents your brand in a way that makes it look good and professional
Yes.
and serious and attractive to someone.
So that's a great place to start, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what do we do to take it to another?
It really depends
Expression.
on the business, but
Yeah.
but as I say, people might want to drive inquiry, they might want to capture bookings, they might want to set up a simple automation where if
Yeah.
someone takes an action on their website, they're then fed a loop of other contacts
Yeah.
from the business to them. But some clients want private client portals
Yes.
where clients can log in and access
Yeah.
the information that's associated with what they do. There's no, I can't really give you an absolute answer that covers all businesses because everyone has
Yes.
something slightly different that
But
they
we
want
want,
to achieve.
we want it to be dynamic because people are coming to the web. We know it's about 85% of all retail transactions are actually engaged through a website.
Yeah.
So we can actually do something more with our flyer brochure that's well constructed and to bring added advantages to us in our business.
100%.
Yes.
So if people are
Yes.
selling products online and you are talking about an e-commerce website where it's transactional,
Yep.
then that opens up a whole other scope of what you can do.
Yeah.
When you land on the homepage, you want to give people a very quick contact point with
Yeah.
browse these products. These are our most favourite or popular products.
Yeah.
These are the products that are on sale right now. Give them 2 or 3
Yeah.
very simple,
Yes.
attractive calls to action
Yes.
to channel them
Yes.
into something they might
Yeah.
like, because
Yeah.
you're taking them more quickly
Yeah.
to that point of sale and purchase. And the same principle applies when you're talking about websites that are non-transactional.
Yeah.
You want to get them to that hot point,
Yes.
that bit
Yes.
of content that
Yes.
they're really after.
Yes.
Because if you give them value with that content,
Yeah.
they'll be much more likely to go, I'm going to inquire and reach
That's-
out to this
that's
business
right.
and send them an email.
Yes.
And then,
So how do we help businesses understand to build our websites for our clients? So when they come to the website, it really reflects not only our business, but actually adds value, creates a way in which they can know that this is a good place and this is a good business for me to interact with.
so what we're doing right now, you and me, is
Yeah.
giving people information about something they're interested in.
Yes.
Now, we're
Yes.
going to assume that they're business owners or they're in
Yes.
marketing perhaps,
Yeah.
but people are hungry for information.
Yes, they
We're
are.
always on our phones. Now, sometimes we're on Facebook or watching YouTube videos, but
Yeah.
a lot of the time it's learning.
Yes.
Like we're listening to podcasts and people are hungry
Mm.
for that information. So rather than selling and saying, well, I am from The Cut and we build websites
Yeah.
that are
Yes.
awesome,
Yeah.
you do information that will help them understand how to build a strategy around their new website, define some objectives around their new website, understand what a good website looks like and what common mistakes are. So you're giving them knowledge and information that helps them assess their own business and
Yes,
marketing,
yes.
and then make decisions from
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And that can be anything. Any business can
That's right.
publish that
Yeah,
information
absolutely.
that is designed to help, not to sell.
Yes, correct. Yeah, we don't need to do that. If we add value,
That's right.
it's just a huge dynamic, and I love the dynamic of helping people understand the added value dynamic rather than the discount dynamic.
100%.
Because then all we're doing is we're just trying to close a deal rather than actually benefit society.
That's right.
And when we lift people, there's something dynamic about that they feel good, that I've helped them, and they will come back to us.
They will.
Absolutely.
They will.
They love added value. And I've done that on my own website.
Yep.
I've got things there that people can actually gain from just going to my website and download.
Yep.
Take it, it's yours, have a look.
Yeah.
Free.
And that's what blogs
Yeah,
should be.
that's
You
right,
can tell
yes.
news, you can
Yeah.
give tips and tricks, you can give insights, you can discuss case studies, but ultimately it's all about giving people information that helps them understand that space more
Yes,
so.
correct.
I'll give you a really good example,
Okay.
if you like.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I was sat down with a client the other day talking about exactly this sort of thing, and I was talking about how with your content you are not selling, you are helping.
yes.
And so I gave him an example of a client that's in the that we have that's in the air conditioning wholesale space, and we started a website and a social media strategy for them and publishing blogs for
Yep.
them from completely ground zero. They'd never done anything in their lives before. Now they sell to air conditioning retailers.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's pretty boring. Let's face it.
Okay.
It's all about the size of the engine and the temperature
Yes.
control and all that. And I said to this client, I said, knowing now that you know what the space that they're in, what do you think that we're publishing content and about? And he said, oh, the performance of the units and the power ratios of the units. And I said, wrong. The people that we're publishing content for are mums who have family homes. So we're publishing content that's around keeping your family comfortable and healthy in the family home, because really that's what air conditioning is about. Warm in winter,
Yeah.
cool in summer.
Yeah.
So we publish things about healthy icy poles to cool kids down in summer. Winter warmer meals, pets and allergies and fur and keeping the air quality good and all those sorts
Yeah.
of things. And that content is very popular. And we use beautiful images of happy families in beautiful homes. There's not an air conditioner in sight. There's no talk about air conditioning engines or cost or fitting. It's nothing about
Yeah.
that. But the core idea is to connect that brand to the people we know are ultimately
Yes.
wanting to engage to buy an air
Yes.
conditioner. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
That's correct.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we think we've got to tell people the power size of pumps and how much, we're going to use for insulation, and we think we've got to tell them about our product.
That's right.
And it's not what people actually want to know.
No.
They want to know an experience.
Yeah.
What that experience about what our business is that will do for me. And I
Sure.
think that's just really brilliant.
There is
Really
a place
brilliant,
for
yes.
that other
Yeah.
information,
Yes.
but it's unlikely to be exciting and motivating for people to read that. Sure, at some point, the husband of the
Yes.
wife that I talked about might
Yes.
want to actually look at the power output of the
Yeah.
unit, but that's not the first piece of information people are going to search for.
That's right. And who are the buyers
Who are the buyers?
generally in
Oh well, they're
Yes.
they're the mums and wives,
That's
aren't they?
right.
They're making most of the decisions,
right.
as we all know. Yeah, for better or worse.
That's
For
right.
better or
Well,
worse.
I know when I've just built a house, and
Yep.
it was my wife liaising with the builders about what was actually going to go on in the house.
Sure.
I think I had a couple of comments about maybe my shed.
Yeah.
That was about it.
And then that's pretty typical.
Yeah. So and I have a beautiful home, and my wife is really happy.
And that's the main thing.
Well, absolutely.
But you're happy too.
Oh, absolutely. But I think that's the dynamic we need to understand about clients.
Yeah.
It's who we're actually talking to and why we want to help them
Yeah.
understand the power of that. So there's layers, isn't there? So the website is the
Absolutely.
hub, and then we can build out to a blog, a video, a podcast. What other dynamics, and how hard are they to actually do if we're getting all of that done, and how long would it take us?
Yeah, look, it depends what you want to take on,
Yeah.
and I think it's very important to be realistic about it.
Yeah.
Even running a couple of social media channels
Yeah.
for a business, it will take time
Yes.
to do it well.
Yes.
You can do it poorly very quickly, but then you're not going
Yes.
to get that engagement.
Yeah.
To do any of these things really well does take time.
Yes.
So we would say if they're going to try and do it themselves, be realistic about how
Yeah.
much time that takes. But certainly it can all be done by the business owner,
Yeah,
for
yes,
sure.
yeah.
And a lot of that stuff is best off coming from the business
Yeah.
owner. Now, if they're going to sit down and just deliver some knowledge but have someone else do the production and do the distributing that through digital channels, that's fine. It's up to each business owner. But I think overall, if you're willing to invest some time in learning some new technologies,
Yes.
you can start a podcast pretty easily.
Yes.
And people do handheld iPhone videos for
Yeah.
social media very easily.
Yeah.
And that sort of content can be very powerful.
Yeah. So I think helping businesses know we get the website right, which is often going to be outsourced to a company like yours.
Sure.
They can then take some ownership and actually begin to build those other dynamics. And I've often done that with my guys. I've said, right, just start capturing your thoughts of how you're interacting with your client as a topic.
Yeah.
So I do that with my show. I'm listening to what my clients are talking about, and I capture ideas. So I've got a couple coming up in the future. The secret of the database
Right.
is one I'm going to do as a business tip later on.
Yeah.
The power of discipline. So I'm listening to my clients, what they're saying, where they're struggling, and then I reflect that in my business tips that I actually do.
Sure.
And I think business owners can understand, if I'm going to do a web and a LinkedIn and a podcast and a video and a blog and all the other social medias, I can be overwhelmed.
Very
If I
easily.
stage it and do it in stages and gradually add to the dynamic, so it can be a process over 12, 18 months to really build those dynamics.
Yeah.
And I think, how do we help them keep it simple?
Well, I think when you're saying about all those different channels, a lot of this can be about getting maximum value from one central piece of content.
Correct,
So
yes.
let's say you write a blog article and
Yeah.
you write a 5 to 1,000 word blog article.
Yeah.
It's very easy to flip that blog article into a podcast script or a
Yes.
topic.
Yes.
You could do it read out or read with your business partner in a
Yeah.
conversational style. Or you could go to a client and have a chat to them around that same topic.
Yeah.
You can carve that article up into different little snippets and publish them as little meme tips on your Facebook.
Yes.
So there's a big, or you could even, if you have visuals or images, you could do it as a screencast.
Yes.
And then turn the podcast into a screencast that then goes on your YouTube channel.
Yes. Yes.
So you can certainly achieve a lot of efficiencies and turn one piece of content into something that hits multiple channels.
Yes.
And that's something we really advise our clients to do and implement for them if we're doing it for them and on their behalf.
So we can really power down that sense of being overwhelmed. I've got a lot to do.
I think
whereas if I do one thing really well and multiply that, is the power of what we're talking about in the online world, because each of the platforms are quite different in what they want you to do and what information or content you want to supply.
That's true for sure.
Yeah.
That's true for sure. It's best to start at the start and do one thing at a time. And then as you get comfortable with one thing and you get into a rhythm with that, then you add something else. Or you expand and do more of the thing that you know is working really, really well. Or you outsource that module and then take on something else as your own. So no one can go from zero to having a great website, podcast, 3 social channels, a blog, and a video channel all in one go. That's not really feasible.
Correct.
So step by step, work out what are the best starting points for the business, and that comes down to the time and what they want to achieve and who they want to reach.
So how urgent is it for businesses to understand the power for them in business to be in the digital space?
Well, I think it's right here. It's not coming. We're right in the middle of it. We've been in the middle of it for a number of years. It's no good saying anymore that the landscape is changing. It has changed. And it will continue to change. And I think on one level or another, every business owner knows that. Probably most of them, depending on which level they are, they don't really understand how to take advantage. But they're getting to the point, if they're not already there, where it becomes like, well, I really need to start to find this out and understand how I can get leverage from this. Because the engagement that it offers, and I think it's worth noting as well, though, with a lot of the Facebook or the social media, and Facebook's a good example, the value is huge. Like if you compare it to TV or buying traditional media, the investment is tiny, and yet the return in terms of the people you're reaching can be extremely high. So there's a lot of value to be had there as well.
So it's interesting, behind a lot of these digital medias is analytics. So we know in business, if we get our analytics telling us the right, or understanding what our analytics are telling us. So tell us the power of something like in a Facebook, when we do something like that, what's happening behind the scenes and what can help the business owner understand, because they're going to ask the question, this is going to cost me money. So it's an ROI. So let's have a chat about that dynamic for them.
100%. And so there's full accountability and transparency with digital, because whether it's your website, you have it connected to Google Analytics, and Google Analytics is a huge and powerful tool that can tell you more than you probably have ever got time to find out about how the website's performing. And, you want to start with data like bounce rate, which is how quickly someone lands on your website and goes away again. You want to look at things like how many pages of your site are they viewing per visit, and how long are they spending on it. And those numbers want to go up, and bounce rate wants to go down. Facebook, same thing. Everything's accountable. Every post you do, you can see how many people have engaged with it and in what ways they've engaged. Have they shared it? Have they commented? Have they hit like? How many people are you reaching? You can set up boosting targets. So you can say, I want to reach women 18 to 24 living within 5 k's of the Perth CBD, for example. The power of what you can do within Facebook, and the ability to use that data to improve and refine what you're doing is and should be ongoing. It often isn't, because again, a lot of clients don't have the head to go in, and they'll go into Google Analytics and it's overwhelmed again. But it's bit by bit. There's a very nice dashboard on Google Analytics. It's a great starting point. Don't try and understand the whole platform. You never will, but understand the starting points. Start to engage with them and use that data to make good business decisions about improvements that you can be doing.
So this is my conversation. I know when I've sent them to you,
Yep.
they come back to me, and we're now going to do the work, what the website's doing, and we're going to ask the question.
Yep.
Let's generate the Google Analytics report. Let's look into the Facebook reporting.
Yep.
And let's match that to your own data. What do you see your client base is? Who is in your database? Are they the same?
Absolutely.
Which is really interesting to do, that and it's helping businesses understand that information is there like that.
Absolutely.
Which is fantastic.
It's so powerful.
It is. And so data dynamics are really, really cool. So I'm thinking that a business owner is saying, you're going to cost me money, John. So we want to answer that question, so that the dynamic of having a good platform, good ROIs because of data. How do we help them answer that question of what will become an outworking dynamic of, they want new clients, they want more profitability.
Yeah. Look, I think once people start to look at and understand digital and the level of accountability and how effective it can be if it's done right, the value becomes very self-evident.
Yes.
Take you back a few years where a lot of, you were telling me your son is a home builder,
yes,
whereas it wouldn't not be unheard of for a home builder, let's say, to take out a full page in the latest main newspaper in the town and pay anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 for that privilege, right?
Yeah.
Now that page is there for, let's say 3 or 4 days if we're being generous,
yes.
but it comes out on Saturday and
Yeah.
it's forgotten by Tuesday. That's $20,000. That's a great deal of money.
Mm-hmm.
There's no accountability. There's no metrics to tap into. There's the readership figures. But if you compare digital media to traditional media, the accountability is far, far greater. The investment proportionately is far, far smaller. And your ability to improve and refine and be very targeted with those medias is so much more powerful than it ever could be in traditional. So once you take down the journey and they start to see the results, it becomes quite self-evident.
So what about a business that's come to you?
Yep.
You built some of this. What transformation have you helped them see? Have you got a story along those lines?
Yeah, look, many stories. Typically, if let's say social media, for example,
Yep.
so we'll often take over a business's social media. Typically, they will have been doing it themselves maybe for, let's say, 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
And typically in that situation, they've been doing it quite poorly because they don't understand the media properly, they're not using their metrics, and they don't really have the time or the skills within their business to publish good quality content.
Mm-hmm.
So in the first 2 to 3 months of us taking it over, it's not uncommon to see statistical improvements that are hundreds of percents.
Wow.
To thousands of percents.
Wow.
Now, don't get me wrong, that's not maintainable.
Yes.
But it shows you that they're coming off a low base to go like that.
Yes.
So you might change the engagement on a single post from 4 to 10 people or 4 to 10 people engaging with that to hundreds of people engaging with that, often thousands. So you can off a single post.
Yes.
So you can start to see what's possible now. The way we approach it is we make the posts look beautiful. We make sure the content and the text of the post is around a strategy, and we know that it's going to be relevant and attractive to the people that are engaging with that business. It doesn't matter who they are, as long as we have an understanding of that. Yeah, so the improvements can be absolutely dramatic, for sure, and usually are.
Yeah. I met with one of my clients who's been doing regular Facebook. He did something different with his post.
Yep.
So he's been getting an artist to do lots of graphic and really good quality graphic.
Okay.
He simply took a photo. He's in a food. Took a photo of a product.
Okay.
He put it up, and it went from hundreds to thousands of hits.
Right.
He asked the question to me, and I don't know the answer. Why would something like that actually happen?
I would need to know more information about the business and exactly see those posts to give an opinion. But often it'll come down to to how lovely the image looks. You know, you see a lot of stuff where people will post a photo of their reception area with the receptionist holding a cup of coffee, or it's June's birthday. Now, some of that stuff is good and can be engaging, but you want things to look nice. You know, Instagram's the perfect example of that. Images should be beautiful in social and Instagram and on your website as well, for that matter. People will stop and look at something in those media if it looks beautiful or interesting or quirky or something like that. But yeah, it's very important. It's quite superficial, but we all can understand that.
I think for me, it's probably the fact that they're seeing the actual food that's being cooked, and it was displayed really nicely. And thousands of people just blew him out of the water.
Well, so food's an important one.
It is.
And particularly important to make it look appetising. It's just as easy to make food look unappetising with a poor photo of it.
That's right.
It's
really fascinating. So it might be something I'll get him to have a chat with you about, because he wants to understand it. Because he wants to do it well. And he wants to look after his clients, because his values are excellence, quality and freshness, being in the food industry. And they're seeing that, and he wants to understand it so he can really look after his clients and tell his story.
So understanding those key things about it, I would say that he could do things like do very short videos of food preparation. You know, if he has beautiful fresh ingredients that are being chopped and prepared or pushed into a wok and flipped or done in slow-mo, if it looks like colourful, fresh, beautiful food, and that's what he's selling and that's what his focus is, then he could do a lot of little things around that. He could talk about where he sources his ingredients. And you're helping people understand what sits under that brand. It's not just about the bowl of food you're buying at the end.
It's right.
About what goes into it before it becomes that.
So what is a way in which you can wrap up this conversation? Because we've covered a fair bit to help businesses understand the power of this amazing digital world that we're doing today. This is going into the digital world.
That's exactly right. We're doing content today that hopefully someone's going to find valuable and informative.
So, tell us how a wrap up.
So I guess I'd come back to some of the points that I've already covered. Like the website is really, really crucial. Often we see websites where the clients bought a website that's possibly quite cheap, and look, budget's one thing, and we all understand that there are budgets, but if that supplier hasn't spent time thinking about the images that have gone on the website, then you might have these really very, very cheap and common generic stock photos. So start with your website, look at the structure, consider how it appears based on the imagery and the photography, how clear is your branding, how clear are your key messages and benefits that you're telling someone when they land on a homepage. Think about all those sorts of things. Once that website's sorted out and it's in a good place, and it is possible to turn a mediocre website into a much better website by adjusting the structure, the text and the images. So that's something that's worth noting. You don't have to throw the whole thing away. Then you would say add a blog, start building a database of people who want to receive your electronic newsletters, then look at your social channels, and then look at something like a podcast or a video blog or a YouTube channel. So that's
great. Okay, you're in business.
Yes.
What is one key that you have found to help you do business well, or even, the whole dynamic of good to great?
As someone who's running my own business?
Yes, absolutely.
I would say, and this is something that we've implemented quite recently, weekly goals.
Okay.
A small number of achievable weekly goals that are touch base with between me and my business partner, or a business owner and a coach.
Yes.
And 3 to 5.
Great. Yes, that's.
You know that you can achieve them.
Yes, that's right.
And I think the big thing for me is make them achievable.
Yes.
Because if you're reaching 3 to 5 goals every week and you're ticking them off and completing them, A, you're getting a lot done, and B, you feel awesome.
Yes.
Because you're achieving stuff.
Absolutely.
So that's been something new that we've implemented, and I would recommend it to anyone. It's very, very easy to implement that.
It is.
You just have a revolving spreadsheet, week commencing whatever the date is, and there's my 3 goals.
Fantastic.
check. Yeah.
And that's a great coaching principle I use all the time.
Yeah.
Ben, it's been great to have you in the studio.
Thanks for having me,
Ben
John.
de Jong from The Cut here in Perth, Western Australia. Thank you so much for listening with us. Thank you for being in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Really fun. Don't forget, the power of this is to help you. So please subscribe, because that way we can give you the content much easier. Ring the bell, because it will notify you when the content's up. John Hardy from Peak Consultancy, where I help you do business better.
Sorry, into the structure of the circle around the south hip, my target.
See that big goal.
As well as understanding the dynamics of.
I want to ask you a question today.
This is John Hardy giving you the business tip of the day so you can do business better.
Well, John Hardy, Peak Consultancy, and Ben de Jong from The Cut websites. Guys, I've just listened to your interview you're doing. Absolutely fascinating. I was listening to when you were saying, Ben, when people come to you with their websites and obviously trying to find, and I think you were phrasing like, what's the benefit? Why should people visit? Why should they stay on the website? From your point of view, when you get existing businesses come to you, we'll deal with these ones because I think there's a lot of these guys who've got websites out there. What do you find is the biggest challenge when they go, this is what I've got, and you suddenly start uncovering that the message on the website is not actually the message their customer wants to hear? How do you tackle this with a customer?
It's a good question. Basically with a communication strategy. So we'll set the business up, we do a full review process for them, and we drill down to what is really different and special about their business, and then we turn that into a document that blocks all that out for them, and then we'll flip that out and it guides the structure and the content of the website.
Do you find when you do that for a lot of business owners, I can just speak from my own personal experience, I suppose, that many business owners haven't done that? They've just got into business, it's kind of morphed along the way, and they've... 100%.
And the typical point of commonality between all of our clients is they've had a change in their business. So they've either got to the end of a period where they're no longer that old business, they're becoming a newer business, or the team's changed, or the management's changed, or they're delivering new services. Something's changed, and it's time to reinvent and redefine.
And John, as a business coach, because you deal with a lot of the existing businesses, they've reached a point, normally a sticking point, and they can't have the breakthrough. Do you find the same as when you very first start to understand them, you start uncovering that maybe what they're talking about now is no longer relevant? Their business is morphed into something and they're not quite clear to communicating that?
I've found with most of mine, their website awareness, in simple terms, sucked. They just didn't really understand what it was all about. And as I walk them through, because as a coach I've got the experience because I've done this lots of times, they get it and they are willing to invest, because we really talk about bottom line impact. We really talk about client engagement. We really talk about what it will do for them, for where they want to go. Because I've discovered they have a dream and they're hoping their website will deliver that, and oftentimes it's nowhere to be seen. So I really help them communicate to people like Ben what their messaging is, and understand it really just needs to be so much clearer, and tell them this is what you're expecting from that, so they know, web developers, brand designers can actually translate that into the digital space for them.
And for both you guys, you really do help people in this space. And we're talking web, we're talking electronic, and people say, oh yeah, I kind of get that. But from both of your experiences, do you find that when they nail it, for lack of a better word, their communication on their website, all of a sudden when they meet people in real life, let's say, they can communicate their business in a lot better terms, even offline? Do you think it's got a benefit offline as well?
100%. So part of the communication strategy has what we call a positioning script or statement and an elevator pitch. So everyone knows what an elevator pitch is, or a barbecue pitch. It's that 20-second of what do you do. Now, it's amazing how many businesses really struggle to wrap that up simply. And we say to them, look guys, all of these messages, it's not just for your advertising and marketing or your website. you should build it into your culture. It should be in your phone calls, it should be in your emails, it should be in your barbecue pitch on a Saturday. So yeah, most often the result is like, wow, this is awesome, and it's all become so clear now. Usually they've got it in there, but they don't know how to bring it out. They don't know how to distill it to the strongest stuff. And that's what we do for them based on everything that they bring into that process from their own business.
And my philosophy is oftentimes businesses are doing a shotgun.
Yeah.
And they have all of this information and they shoot it out there hoping some of it's going to land. And my conversation is have an arrow or 2 or 3 arrows and really understand what those arrows are doing. And when you fire them, they really will hit the target and you just feel great.
It was interesting when Ben just mentioned then, John, and he used the word culture.
Yes.
I know that's one of your favourite topics.
Yes.
Do you find that when people work with people like Ben and get that clarity, that all of a sudden you work with them, you work with their staff, with their teams, that culture then is even solidified even more?
Oh, absolutely. Because what happens is they know what they now know. Previously, they didn't know what they didn't know. And it's just great for them because they now have confidence. And I find this happens over and over again for business operators and owners. Confidence exudes from them because I now know my message. I now know what I'm about. And they can start to really share the culture and people get it because the message is clear. And that's what I love about this kind of dynamic, people really understanding who they are and what their business is really all about.
Yeah. Ben, you said something interesting during the interview about the cost of traditional media, the newspapers and the TVs and look, other businesses on there.
Yeah.
If we just took the money out of it though, what I'm hearing is if you get involved in digital media, online, the benefits are now not just a 30-second ad or 2 or 3 days in print. The benefits actually seep all the way through your business structure itself and give you a whole platform that enables you to grow something that you just wouldn't get, but traditional media would never deliver that kind of impact to you.
Yeah, 100% right. And look, everything that you put online stays there.
Yeah.
A lot of clients think, how much is it for you to write a blog for us? Oh, and they go, oh, is it that much? And we're like, well, it takes a few hours to do that. But it's not like a press set. You don't publish it and then it ends up wrapped around the fish and chips. It stays on your website. It's rich in keywords. Google loves content and being published, so it helps your organic SEO rankings. It's got a lot of people will come back. You can publish a blog multiple times into your social, and a blog's just one example. It's the same for all the content you generate. Yeah. It stays there.
It was interesting you saying that, Ben. I know that you, John, you're very much into repurposing.
Yes.
So you can take a piece of blog or a video, and I know Ben was talking about it during the interview, but you're really big on that. You can go, hold on, you've done it once.
That's right.
Now let me show you how to multiply that.
Absolutely. And the illustration for me is what we've done on YouTube. We can not only have YouTube, but on the same channel, we can actually have it as a podcast. All we've done is change the format, and that's the dynamic of content. Create it once, change the format, and watch what it does for you. And it's got 100 times potential by doing it once. So you invest, say, $1,000 on a good blog with 100 times potential of using that across platforms, and it always being there and always working for you in 24/7 world. That's the power of your investment. So that $1,000 investment, again, being multiplied in all sorts of ways and dynamics, and all of them are bringing people, your clients, people wanting your business, they're coming to you because that is so attractive.
I really appreciate your time. I know you're short of time as well, Ben, but I wanted to have this after.
Yeah, great.
One thing I would say, we are worldwide. Obviously, people in Perth can contact yourself, Ben, and the cut and talk to you then one-on-one. But other people around the world, or maybe not have that quite easy to communicate with you, if they were looking for a digital marketing strategist, and we know you've had experience for many, many years, even in the offline media world, What's your piece of advice? What type of question would you go, look, this question or these couple of questions, should they ask a digital marketing specialist? What should they be looking for in one to make sure they're getting the quality that the cut delivers?
That's a really good question. I think that the most important thing a business owner can do before they look to engage with someone, write down some objectives. What do they want to achieve? Let's say it's a new website. What do they want to achieve with the new website? What do they need the website to do for them as a business and for the customers who are visiting? Talk to different suppliers and look at the content management system that your website is going to be controlled by before you purchase. Have a look at that. That's really, really important.
Wow, that's absolutely fantastic. John, your last words of wisdom from Peak Consultancy on this matter?
Get into the digital age today. Do something and watch the difference it will help you, and begin to develop a long-term strategy. So do something today and look at what you will do over the next 12 months, and it will really help you be a greater presence, and people are going to love you so much more. So be digital.
Be digital. Look, guys, I really appreciate you staying back. Ben de Jong from The Cut and John Hardy, Peak Consultancy. Thanks for me hijacking your show, John.
It's great to do this.
Thanks, Michael.
And we want to help people in business, don't we?
Absolutely, 100%.
That's what this is about. So great being with you so we can help you do business better.
Sorry, coming into the structure of the circle around our target.
See that big goal.
As well as understanding the dynamics of it.
I want to ask you a question today.
This is John Hardy giving you the business tip of the day so you can do